133 pounds, it certainly can be a weight that can go a lot of different directions, like many NCAA weights. But I think there are more than any other weight class, perhaps, there are more dangerous, highly seeded guys in this bracket than any other. I'm going to go into that, those deep sleepers, my title contenders, and ultimately my first through eighth finishers. So starting with the title contenders, and I'll say this in probably every video. Yeah, I could make a big list of title contenders, and I'd probably be right because probably the champion will come from that list. But I'm really trying to pare it down to the 3 or so guys that I really think are my most likely NCAA champions, and here they are. They are, in this case, it wasn't this case at 125, but in this case, it's the top 3 seeds: Lucas Bird, Drake Ayala, and Nasir Bailey. Now, that's a pretty small list, but that's how I see this one going. Now, as I look at the top side, I really like the path for Lucas Bird. And that's why I don't have any other top side guys, because I think it's one that he is very likely to navigate. Though he's going to have tough guys throughout, like in second round, Jacob Van D. That's not an easy guy, but Jacob Van D did not have the best showing at the Big Ten. Maybe dealing with an injury after a concussion, or he was knocked unconscious against Nick Bouzakis. And then in that second round, he would have Braden Davis. Now, he's wrestled really well against, or third in that quarter, he would have Braden Davis or Braxton Brown, 2 guys he has had success against. And then in the semi, it could be a lot of different guys. And that is a factor here. But it's a combination of Zeth Romney, Dom Serrano, Tyler Knox. I just like that path for Lucas Bird. Sometimes the 1 seed is not always the most navigable path, but in this case, it is exactly what the 1 seed is intended to do. It gives Lucas a really favorable draw. And then down below, the draw for Drake Ayala, the 2 seed, and I think it's pretty tough. At 31, Cade Moore, this is a guy who just majored Frost from Iowa State, right? And now his record is kind of terrible for an NCAA qualifier. But this is a guy who a year ago gave Vito Arujau a real run. The talent is there. I'm pretty sure he beat Sam Latona. So this guy's good. And that's Drake Ayala's first round match. In round 2, and not enough people are talking about this guy, and there's kind of reasons for that, but Anthony Noto of Lockhaven. That looks like the second round match for Drake Ayala. This guy's a multiple All-American, very tough from the top position. For a 2 seed, that's a pretty tough second match. Then in the quarters, could be Nick Bouzakis, could be Dylan Shalver, a Big Ten champ, or a guy that's as dangerous as anyone in Nick Bouzakis. That's your quarter. And then the semi, I do think it's going to be Nasir Bailey from Little Rock. And I think Drake wins that match against Nasir Bailey, making it to the NCAA finals. So I have it, the Big Ten finals, the NCAA finals, repeating itself. On this occasion, I've got it going back the other way. I've got Drake Ayala winning this bracket. I'm not saying last week was a fluke by any stretch. Lucas Bird made that happen. I think in this instance, I think Drake is better leg attacks. I don't think that pinfall scenario is likely to repeat itself for Lucas Bird. Just candidly, I think it's unlikely. I think Lucas is going to have to go and get a takedown against Drake Ayala. And apart from the feet to back, he hasn't had many opportunities. I think Drake's going to give himself more opportunities to do so. So that's how I see that top 3 playing out. Now, I want to get into these sleepers because there are a ton at this weight class. At the 10, you've got Dylan Shalver of Rutgers. He's a Big Ten champion a year ago, a past All-American. I think he's someone who can go on a deep run on that bottom side. Number 13, Tyler Knox. This is a guy with a win over Drake Ayala, with a win over Zeth Romney. And he is in this quarter here. I think he could wreak some havoc. He's at the 13. He'll have Borman and then Romney likely, the 4. He has a win over the 4 seed. Dom Serrano is a guy who has the 5 seed, but he's got some losses to guys ranked well below him. So if you're looking for a surprise semifinalist, maybe number 13, Tyler Knox, is your guy. Other sleepers. I already mentioned Anthony Noto. Now you look at his wrestle stat. You look at his record. He's got a lot of tough ones, but he's won 11 out of his last 12. He's getting hot at the right time. He's really good, and he's got good wins this year. He's beaten Dylan Schafer. He's beaten other ranked guys. So it's not like as though he hasn't shown he's still, on that level. So I think for a 15 seed, extremely dangerous. And then number 26, Kai O'Reilly. Now, this is a familiar name to wrestling fans. He's a guy who we've seen on the podium in the past. But he's just been right there in so many matches. He's losing in overtime. He's losing close. 1-point match here. And for that reason, that's why you're the 26th seed. He was at 141 to start the year, made the cut down, limited schedule, limited wins. But there's a sign that he's kind of rounding into form, and it's in the form of a win over Ethan Oakley, someone who beat him earlier this year. He lost tight ones to Conor McGonigal, the 6th seed, in overtime, I believe. So if you're looking for someone that who knows they can put it together, he's put together and placed at the NCAA tournament. He's the 26th seed. And now he's going to have a tough guy, Nick Bouzakis, in round one. But what do we know about Nick Bouzakis? Not always the best round one wrestler, right? We saw him lose round one at the Big Ten Championships, but what does Nick Bouzakis do? Which brings me to the next point. Nick is a backside savage. This guy gets on the backside and bonuses his way. We've seen him do this at Vegas. We've seen him do it at Big Tens. These are not easy tournaments, and Nick Bouzakis has found a way. So if you're looking for two guys to go on runs, I think Kyorini from the 26, I'm not counting this guy out. He's not getting blown out. He's going to be in matches. And with his pedigree and what he's been able to prove to do, I'm not counting him out from placing this year, no matter how high his seed is. And yeah, I already mentioned Nick Bouzakis as someone, he could go on a run front side, perhaps, but the backside is where I think he's going to do some damage. So here's my podium. Here's my round of 12. First, Drake Ayala. Second, Lucas Bird. Third, Nasir Bailey. Fourth place, Zeth Romney. So pretty chalk there. Fifth place, Nick Bouzakis. Sixth place, Dylan Shaver. Seventh, Braden Davis gets on the podium. And eighth place, Braxton Brown of Maryland. In my round of 12 losers, Dom Serrano, Conor McGonigal, Tyler Knox, and Evan Frost. That is a savage weight class. That is a very, very difficult weight. I mean, my round of 12, listen to the pre-round of 12. You got guys as good as Noto, you've got Farber, Rini. This is one of the deepest weights, and I don't think we've given this weight, 133, enough credit for not just how good it is at the top, but how deep it is. And if you're looking for a weight where in your fantasy brackets or your pools or whatever, if you want to mix it up with a little bit of chaos, I think 133 might be the weight class. How do you see this weight class going? 133 going to be a lot of fun. Cannot wait for the NCAA tournament, and particularly 133.